Miracle, baby. Yeah. Miracle, 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 miracle. We keep having all these problems. How we gonna solve them? Every day it's the same thing. Yeah. All these unsolved issues, I guess it's official. Here we go again, the same old thing. And I'm tired of the arguing and lying. So goodbye, all the hurt and crying. Things will change in you, so how can I expect something new? It's the same old thing.
Good morning, everybody. It's your girl Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. It is July the 7th, 2025, and today the topic is delay is not denial. Happy Monday. Yes, happy Monday, everybody. I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. Mine was just fine. Yes, mine was good. Overall, yes, I felt led to start this thing at 9/11, so this might be an important, right, emergency type of word for you guys today, and I hope that you guys are encouraged and inspired by it. If you want to know real quick the inspiration, well, first of all, I was blessed to talk to my girl Allie again yesterday. Those of you all that prayed with her on the GSF platform, thank you so much, man. I'm glad that she, again, sees us as a safe space, as well as like just that you guys, right, step up to the occasion. So when she texted me about prayer, I was like, sure, no problem, and posted it on all the platforms, including here on YouTube. And, prayers just started flowing in. And so we greatly appreciate that. And, so yeah, I got a chance to talk to her a couple of times yesterday, briefly, after I got out of church, and then later on that evening she called me again, and we talked for another 3-4 hours, which is a blessing, which is such a blessing. I'm hearing about, some of the things that's going on with her behind the scenes, of course, spiritual warfare, things of that nature. And, she was feeling a little bit discouraged and whatnot. And hopefully I was able to encourage her and inspire her to, one, not give up, not get discouraged, and understand that when these things come, start looking for the blessings, right? Because things, the Lord is up to something, right? So anyway, if that wasn't enough, all I know is last night and this morning, I ended up waking up from a dream of me and her, which is, I guess, not unusual these days. How many have I done had so far? About like at least 3, 4, 5. I don't know. But yeah, I had a dream about me and her, and I don't feel led to go too deep into everything that was going on in the dream. But once I started to interpret it and stuff like that, one of the first things that I received was that delay was not denial, and I felt led to send that to her, directly, or whatever the case may be. Because again, I know she, as well as a lot of us on here, right, are disappointed with the recent trial, right? We're disappointed with the way things panned out, and different things of that nature. But I guess I'm here to remind us all today, friends, that delay is not denial. At the end of the day, the Lord is up to something. And sometimes, again, things don't happen the way we think it should, right? But that don't mean things ain't happening, right? So hopefully that encourages you already without me even getting to the rest of the juice that the Lord gave me this morning. But yeah, that was one of the big things that stood out to me in my dream, over a theme of what I received from the dream. So I sent it to her. And I didn't necessarily consider it to be a juice. I just kind of was like, oh, this is for her. You know what I mean? And there was some other things as well. Like, I feel like, again, another thing I received about the dream for, I guess, both of us is that, like, basically confirmation of, again, something bigger taking place in regards to healing and things of that nature. And I know even last night and yesterday, I kept seeing people comment on here about, one, their own stories, their Me Too stories, as well as, how hearing Allie's testimony has inspired them to make moves in their communities and stuff like that. So shout out to those individuals. And those that did send that type of stuff, or that I saw in the comments, I sent that stuff directly to Allie, because obviously every now and then we need confirmation, right? We need something to keep us going. Especially when you feel down and you feel defeated, you need that boost, right? To be reminded that at the end of the day, it's bigger, right, than us and our own idea. At the end of the day, she's touching countless lives around the world. And, So it may not look the way she think or thought it would, but at the same time, it is making an impact. And so I just wanted to at least just show and share with her the little bit that I'm witnessing on this end. So shout out to those of you guys, like I said, those of you all that follow us here, you are in the comments and you get it and you see the message and you are activated, right, to do something about it. Thank you to all of you all. Thank you to the people that are saying that, hey, Allie, you are being my voice, and please don't stop talking, because, you know, I never talked about my situation, X, Y, and Z. Like, that was a powerful testimony I saw. I think it was like early this morning, and I screenshot it and I sent it to her, because I just was like, and I let the person know, like, hey, I'm sending this directly to Allie, because at the end of the day, like, again, to get that confirmation and encouragement is important. So thank you to those that get it. Thank you to those that are following and those that are you know, leaving those comments and stuff like that. And I'm letting you know now, we see them. I don't answer every comment that I see, but when it comes to some those like that, you know, I'll definitely try to pay attention and send them to the places that they need to go. So thank you all, and I'm glad you all are here and things like that. There's a little something I might talk to you all about in the after show as well, something else that we addressed yesterday. And, you know, again, thank you to those that get it for that as well. But, you know, we done talked about it over and over and over again, but, you know, if the Lord leads me to talk about it in the after show, I'll talk about that then. But let me go ahead and say hello to Birdie to Tweet. Hey, thanks for tuning in. They say good morning. And thank you very much for keeping us informed about beautiful Allie and her mom. You're so welcome, man. I'm so grateful to be in this position. Like I was telling her last night, she was telling me about some issues that she's going through with people that she felt close to and stuff. And basically some different observations that she's made about some situations. And I'm like, girl, listen, at the end of the day, like the fact that I stood out in these thousands of people that are following you, like I know that was divine, because at the end of the day, like, I mean, there's thousands of people following you at this point. So, you know, in my little heart of mine, and I, like, I mean, again, I'm not trying to get too deep about the situations that she's going through and none of the people or whatever. But all I'm going to say is that, like, at the end of the day, like, I don't think any of us that really get the fight and really get what she's going through and what she's sharing and what she's trying to encourage us to do something about. I don't think any of us are expecting like one-on-one treatment. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way, even in the beginning, you know, even though I had been following her since 2020 and, you know, yeah, I had offered for her to be on the GSL Talk show before I did the Alley Challenge and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I figured there was a lot of people offering to be, you know, them to be on their platforms and stuff. So I just was like, if I stand out, if I don't, you know, it's up to the Lord, you know, at the end of the day. And so, so to expect one-on-one treatment from her is a little bit, I don't know, like, I don't know how wise that is. At the end of the day, like, she's already going through a lot in her own life. She's talking to the thousands of us around the world, and probably more than that, who knows. And then, so, I don't know, it just was a weird thing, but I was just letting her know on my end. I'm like, look, I'm just grateful anytime I talk to you, because at the end of the day, like, you know, the fact that you even have time to talk to me is a blessing, and hopefully, again, I can be encouraging and inspiring with the things that I'm sharing with you, but there's no expectation, right? There's no expectation for me to be like, oh, Ellie, you need to listen to my life story. You know what I mean? Like, you know, there's too much other stuff to do, right? I need to be out here being a mom, being a wife, you know what I'm saying? Encouraging the children at the church. Like, you know what I mean? There's more things to do than to expect Allie to sit here and be listening to me in my life all day. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I don't know what other people think. I don't know what other people got going on or whatever, but regardless of that, right, we talking about delay is not denial. So again, if you're feeling some way, right, about yes, maybe even about the Diddy trial, but stuff going on in your own life as well, like maybe God isn't answering your prayer quick enough according to you, right? Maybe you're thinking like, well, Lord, I done prayed about this or that, and it's not coming to pass. Like, what fit it for your situation, friends? Delay is not denial. Every now and then, what I'm receiving is that, you know, again, well, one thing's happen in God's divine timing. You know, again, I see more and more every day why things panned out the way they did in my life. Like, again, I told y'all the other day, I broke it down about my whole book journey. The fact that I had the cultivation period written back in my 20s, but the first thing I ended up publishing was the Juice, your Bible study journal. I don't think that was like by coincidence. I think the Lord didn't see fit for me to learn nothing about publishing or nothing until my heart and mind was open to make this. You know what I'm saying? And then he allowed me to publish the cultivation period and these other children books and things of that nature. Like, you same with GSL. Like, this had been on my heart and mind for years, but the Lord saw fit, instead of me doing a talk show first, which was my original concept, it still hasn't even come to fruition the way I imagined it to be. But he had me doing the juice, which is what I'm doing now, and studying the Bible and sharing that as daily inspiration before he established any of the other stuff. So again, things happen in God's divine timing in his, according to his perfect plan, and we got to get with that. Like, I feel like a lot of times we are asking the Lord to do something for us the way we want it to be, and then we upset when it don't pan out that way. And at the end of the day, like, again, all I'm gonna sit here and tell y'all over and over and over again is the truth, what's going on with me. The more I lay down my idea, the more I say, hey Lord, what is it that you want to do, and then go with whatever he got going on, the more at peace I feel, the more content I feel, and that for me is something. Because I remember those days when I was not content. I remember those days when I was not at peace. And I was feeling like something is missing. Something is wrong. What is it? Like, I did this, I did that. I achieved this goal. I did achieve that goal. And I'm still feeling empty. And here I am today doing probably the least I've ever done in life. Like, I get up and do this. You know what I'm saying? I go work at the church. And that's about it. Outside of like being creative and making my creative stuff or whatever, my books or whatever other ideas I be working on, and I feel super fulfilled. Like I was telling Allie yesterday, I just don't see mainstream entertainment for me anymore. If that happens, that mean maybe the Lord done clean some stuff up for me to be able to do it. I just feel like at this point I will probably side-eye everybody that I end up working with if I was ever to be mainstream, and stuff ain't killing up, right? But that's not a whole other conversation. But I'm totally content, right, with this idea of, Lord, if you want me to make my own movies, make my own music, do this stuff online, keep making books, keep working at the church, I could do this the rest of my life, and I feel like I would be totally fine with that. You know what I'm saying? And that's, look, growth for me, so I hope these testimonies and these things have encouraged you already. But let me go ahead and get into the juice, because, I mean, y'all know that's what you came for, right? You want the juice and not just my life story. So here we go. What I felt led to write down first was obviously the definition of delay. And it says, I wrote down the second one that I saw, and it says a period of time by which something is late or postponed. So, I mean, obviously, we know what this word delay means. But at the same time, we got to think about this from a biblical perspective, right? At the end of the day, like I said earlier, God's timing is not our timing. He tells us that straight up in the word, and that's not one of the verses that I felt led to write down this morning, but you can go look it up for yourself, that, God's timing is not our timing at the end of the day. And our ways, right, are not his ways. And so, just because we think things should be a certain way or whatever the case may be, or we have an idea of, okay, yes, I like this idea of what it should be. I mean, we should just let the Lord do it his way. Again, GSL is a huge example of that. If I had sat here and wasted all this time sitting here trying to wait and do it the way I thought I was going to do it, by having a little audience and being at a table with me and some old ladies, there would be no GSL nothing right now, because I've yet to have that type of thing at all. Like, the closest thing I've had to it is the Girl Talk episodes, where I have me and some other ladies just talking, but there still ain't no audience, there still ain't no table, there still ain't no in-person experience, or whatever the case may be. So, you know what I mean? Like, was I going to wait on that, or was I going to go with the Lord and start doing daily inspiration and then kick off everything else that y'all are witnessing and seeing here? Like, I'm so grateful, right, that I went with the Lord idea versus like waiting for my own, because we would have still been waiting according to what I've experienced over these past 5 years. So I hope that encourages y'all. Like, let the Lord lead. At the end of the day, he is the author, right? He is the director. Like, if you believe in the Bible, like, that's what you believe in at the end of the day. So why do we keep trying to take the pen? I mean, I was there now. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, cultivation period talks all about it. I was definitely there and trying to, make things fit in my idea of what it should be. Now, I never was one of those people that was like, ooh, I have to be married by 30 and pregnant by 35. And I never had it mapped out like that. But, I was thinking like, whatever my ideas I was thinking at that time. I can't even really remember everything right now. But, basically, yes, we all have our own idea. But I think what we all need to do, right, is take that idea to the Lord and say, okay, Lord, this is what I'm thinking, right? But hey, what is your will in this? Like, how do you want this to happen? Things of that nature. And you'll be more at peace. At least that's what's happening with me. I hope that, helps you. But let me go ahead and give you guys a verse to think about. 2 Peter 3:9. It says, the Lord is not slow to fulfill his promise, as some count slowness, but is patient toward you, not wishing that any should perish, but that all should reach repentance. So at the end of the day, friends, one of the things I thought about as I was reading and writing down this verse this morning was that, like, if you ready for the Lord, right, to come on back, right, if you truly ready for the Lord to, get to the next level, whatever the case may be, then hey, why don't you do your part with spreading this gospel? Because from what I'm understanding now, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know when the Lord's coming back, whatever, none of those details. None of us do, right? However, the Bible is clear about, hey, there's a few things that will give us clues to when he's coming back, and one of those things is the spread of the gospel. So if you really care about him coming on back, right, then go spread the gospel, friend. Because at the end of the day, like, now, again, we know everybody's not going to receive it and stuff like that, but he is giving everybody the opportunity, right? This verse right here is telling us right here, like, he's patient toward you, like, not just other people, like, even all of us, right? And not wanting anybody to perish. So in order for people not to perish, right, like they say, how they going to hear without a preacher? And I'm not saying everybody got to go be a quote-unquote preacher or whatever that case may be, but all of us, quote-unquote, disciples of Christ, supposed to be spreading this gospel, though, right? And making disciples, right? And you got whatever way that the Lord has gifted you to do that. I know even yesterday, I did get a chance to go on and sit in the church, so that was a blessing. And, we had a guest speaker and whatnot. He was there, and there just, there was quite a few things that he said that stood out to me. But one of those things is that quote that talks about, again, 2 important days in your life: when you were born and then when you find out why. So again, when you find out the way that the Lord wants you to share the gospel, because we know that's going to be part of your mission if you are a believer, right? And if you, it's probably part of all of our mission, but some of us are just rejecting it, so then we don't ever get that part. But that's a whole nother conversation. But what I'm saying is that whatever the Lord has gifted you to do, then it's to upbuild his kingdom. You know what I mean? It's to, again, make more disciples, things of that nature, to spread the gospel, to give people the opportunity to accept the gift of Christ, right? So if you understand that at the end of the day, then now you can start seeking the Lord about, okay, well, Lord, what is it that you want me to do in this fight, right? In this mission. And then start doing that. You know what I mean? Now, obviously, I guess the Lord wanted me to do juice. You know what I'm saying? He wanted me to make GSL. He wanted me to do the things I'm doing. And I'm trying my best to do those things. And I hope that encourages you, inspires you for you and your thing. I tell y'all this all the time, but here it is again, right? One of the things that often motivated me back in the day, back before any of this came to fruition, back before I published any books, back before I made my own movie, like any of this stuff, before any of the things was established, one of the things that motivated me was understanding that my situation wasn't just about me, and that it was to impact someone else, right? The book, The Cultivation Period, I wanted to help other single Christians that were struggling. You know what I mean? And every other thing, even having a GSL talk show, I wanted to open up the opportunity for Christians to talk about everything and not feel like it's some taboo thing, when at the end of the day, the Lord made everything, including sex and everything like that. So, it's just one of those things where, again, like, we all are on our own journeys, and you have your own unique gift set, and, God has made you beautifully, wonderfully unique. And so because of that, whatever it is that the Lord created you for, I hope that you're encouraged and inspired to do it. Because again, it plays a huge part, not just, again, with you and your life, but your circle of influence. I got another verse for you guys to think about in this 1 Peter 3:20. It says, because they formerly did not obey when God's patience waited in the days of Noah while the ark was being prepared, in which a few, that is 8 persons, were brought safely through the water. So here you go, friends. Again, another little confirmation. It might be Pope, depending on where you at spiritually, but it might be good news, right? If you feel like, okay, I'm in this season, I'm building, things like that, and I might look crazy, right? I might look like, things aren't panning out again. Noah looked real crazy until it started to rain, right? And so it's the same for us, right? Again, Allie may feel some way because things didn't pan out the way she wanted it to with the trial, right? Or whatever it is in your life in particular, maybe you feel like, okay, the Lord, you showed me this business idea, but I don't know, I don't have this or I don't have that. Like I sound crazy trying to go get a loan or whatever, whatever the Lord is saying to you about you and your situation and your journey right now. Ultimately, friends, again, we will not be put to shame. That's what the Bible tells us. It tells us that we will not be put to shame. At the end of the day, if we're aligned with the Lord, we're not going to be put to shame. So don't worry about that, right? Don't worry about what people think. Don't worry about, again, the time that it's taking. We need to be more so concerned about, hey, am I listening to the Lord and am I being obedient? And am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Those questions are more important than allowing the enemy to use people, right? To use timing, to use all these things to make you get off track. Again, I feel like this is an important 911 conversation, man. So I hope that you guys are receiving it. I have a couple of quotes that I felt led to share with you guys. Let me see. One of them says, worrying about what didn't happen won't speed up what will. I mean, is that a mic drop, y'all? At the end of the day, again, we sitting here worrying about things not happening in the time that we think it should. Ain't gonna speed it up. Get aligned with the Lord and you ain't gonna worry about the timing. You just gonna know, hey, it's gonna happen in its proper time, right? And so that's a word all by itself. Here's another quote that I felt led to share with you guys about this. And it says, love in the delay and trust in the pause. At the end of the day, again, one of the things that is in the Go Deeper section, there's a couple of verses that I was led to, and they were inspired by the time that I woke up this morning. So I woke up at 6:27. I made a note of that, and then I started to try to interpret my dream and work on that. What I was telling you about earlier. And then I wasn't going to look into the verses because I had received, the whole subject matter about delay is not denial. I received that elsewhere confirmation. So I started to kind of just work on that. But then at some point, I guess the Lord just had me to pause and look back at those verses, which they're in the Go Deeper section, but it's Matthew 6:27 as well as Luke 6:27. And I was like, well, Lord, what does this have to do with this conversation about, delay is not denial, and what does this have to do maybe even with the dream that I had and stuff like that? And you guys can go deeper because you guys got to read the verses to see exactly what they're saying. But I guess to give you a little bit of a hint about, again, loving in the delay and trusting in the pause. At the end of the day, one of those verses is referring to how we should treat our enemies, right? And y'all should probably already know it and stuff. But, again, we struggle with that, right? We struggle with like showing love to those individuals that are quote unquote our enemies. But when we do that, right, when we push through and just allow God to get the vengeance and things of that nature, like it only works out better for us at the end of the day to forgive and things like that. So that's one of those things. And then the other verse, man, now I feel like I should have read it because I'm going deeper about it. I should have wrote it down. I'm sorry about that. But I just put it in the Go Deeper section for you guys. So if you really feel like this is resonating with you, how about this? Y'all go read these verses. Let them marinate on your heart, souls, and minds. And let the Lord show you what he wants you to know about those two verses and this conversation of delay is not denial. But that's ultimately the juice this morning, y'all. And I hope y'all received it. Like I said, look, it's a 911, important conversation. Something to really, really think about and pray about. And that's the juice. Now, the Bible verse of today is Proverbs 9:10. It says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding. Friends, I hope you guys enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye.